Hello everyone and welcome back to GameVen. My name is Ethan York.
My name's Garcia.
And today we have our official review of MLB 15 The Show. And before we get started with our review, I would just like to say, because MLB The Show is a yearly franchise, I would rather focus on the new things introduced to the game instead of talking about the whole concept of a baseball game in general. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And one of the newest things to be brought into this game is something that was brought into the baseball world last year, and that is the replay challenge system. Now, the way this works is that there's only one play that you can challenge in MLB 15 The Show, and that's a play at first. And I would say, you know, me and him have been playing this game a lot, that it's fairly accurate. So do you want to explain how this whole system works?
The challenge system basically works like if the person gets on base and they say he's out, you can basically challenge it to see if they're actually on base.
Now, there's no official system where you go in to start and you press challenge like Madden has. I believe Madden has a system where you can do it manually. It's more of like a pop-up window that says, hey, this call was pretty close, you want to take another look at it to see if you can challenge it. And so, I mean, it's only one play, but I think they're going to expand on it in the future years, so that would be pretty interesting. Next new thing they brought in, very minor thing, is a new pitch trail system used for pitching. I think you like it better than the previous MLB 14 The Show's classic system, so how about you talk about pitch trail a little bit?
The classic system was alright, just it was not more control. Like for this pitching system, you can see where you want the ball or where is it going to land.
Yeah.
So like when I throw my curveballs at you, you either see it's going to hang or not.
Yeah. It's nice because you either had to, when you were playing split screen, for example, you can use a fade system showing where your pitch goes. And it's a little better because you can't exactly identify the type of pitch it is. If you had it on Classic, it gives you arrows on where the pitch is going to land. In this case, it shows you where the arm angle is going to release and where the ball is going to end up landing. It doesn't really tell you what kind of pitch it is, so you can still have your friends off balance without, while still having control of where you're throwing the ball. And one of the biggest things to be introduced into MLB 15 The Show is the new Sunlight engine, which me and you talk about this a lot. They now have a prompt where you can choose the time of day and the month. And the reason they did that was because there's a new engine that changes the sunlight based on what month you're in. Mm-hmm. And you prefer October, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's for the postseason.
Yeah, so he likes to put the postseason settings on. We do 7 p.m., we do October, and it's already dark. But say you do it sometime in the summertime and you go to Busch Stadium and you do it 7 p.m., it's still going to be a little light outside because it's the summer months and the sun is out for longer. So that is pretty cool. My personal favorite for this year, and I know fans have been asking for this for a long time, is the brands and sponsors. Now, I made you a character for MLB 15 The Show, and I pimped you out with some gear. So kind of talk about the brands that you've seen so far in MLB 15 The Show.
I've seen Nike so far, Under Armour, and I'm just going to admit those two are my favorite.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
But now since I've been seeing it actually. Yeah. Now I'm a huge fan of Nike, obviously. Yeah. So whenever I see Nike, I'll choose Nike.
Yeah.
But there's bats, gloves.
Cleats too.
Cleats, everything like.
So I don't know all the brands off the top of my head. I'll leave them down in the description below. But you have Marucci, Franklin, Rawlings, Wilson, Nike, Under Armour, and there's 3 more that I can't think. Oh, Sambat. I can't think of the rest off the top of my head, but like I said, I'll leave them down in the description below. That is honestly one of the coolest things when you have, a Road to the Show, which is basically a my player, single player mode, or, you're going into a franchise. Like, I know I like to edit my players a lot. I have a franchise for my favorite team, the St. Louis Cardinals, and sometimes I'll see that the brands are off, and I like that I can go in and change their equipment. And even the equipment even has some advantages. Like if you get higher end stuff, like an example of Wilson A2000, which is undoubtedly one of the most used gloves in all of baseball, they have it as a diamond rating, which if you use it on your Road to the Show character, you get a lot more, higher stats, and that makes sense. I don't think you get higher stats if you use it for franchise, but it's just cool. Like you said, he's a fan of Nike, and then, he's not really you're not super into, MLB The Show. Like, you don't have a PS4, you just play it when you come here.
Yeah, I play it when I come here.
But it's nice to see that there's something new that is also familiar at the same time, seeing brands and stuff like that.
Yeah, like from playing 14, we just see colored cleats or colored gloves or anything, but now since we see it, now we can adapt to the brands that's out there, basically.
And I think that's an incredibly cool feature, to be honest with you. I'm very happy about that. And one of the biggest things they stress about, I never even played it before at all because I thought the mode was kind of bogus, is the new Diamond Dynasty mode. Now, the Diamond Dynasty is basically like Ultimate Team, except before, instead of getting MLB players, they put you with a bunch of preloaded players that didn't actually exist, and then you had to get Diamond Dynasty points by playing Diamond Dynasty to get MLB players. Now, you start off with a full roster of MLB players that are already there, regardless of how good or not. I think you get like 1 gold player to start with. But it's just cool. Like, you notice a lot that every time you open up the game, you get a brand new character.
Yeah, every time I see you cheer, whenever you see a gold character or at least a high level character.
Yeah, so basically how it works is every 24 hours you get a little stamp for returning. And if you do, I think, 7 days in a row of playing time, you get a standard pack, which is filled with a couple players and some equipment and stuff like that. But it's just, it really gets you more intrigued in the Diamond Dynasty mode. I was always a fan of Diamond Dynasty because you got to make your own jerseys, but I didn't like how there were a bunch of nobody players. Now my team is pretty stacked because they're all full of MLB players, and I actually feel like there's something to work towards. So I'm going to ask you a question. If you were to have a PS4, would you be interested in playing Diamond Dynasty because of this new mode that they added in?
Yeah, I would much want to play it because it's like, well, I'm a FIFA fan,
Yeah.
obviously, so I'm a fan of Ultimate Team,
Yeah.
so there's Ultimate Team, NBA also has that.
Yeah.
So for MLB The Show 15, now seeing that, putting MLB players, I think I would much enjoy to play it.
I think they finally stepped up their game and they matched up their Ultimate Team system to everybody else's. That's kind of ties in with the whole universal rewards thing like we were talking about earlier. If you get a certain type of anything, for example, if you get a cleat, glove, bat, anything, you can use it for Diamond Dynasty. You can add it to your personal character, or you can add it to your Road to the Show guy, and everything kind of works seamlessly together. Everything is rewarded for something. If you get an entire team's roster in cards, you get their legend card, which is one of their best players from the past, from whatever decade ago. So I don't know, I think all the rewards in general makes it a pretty rewarding experience to play. Yeah. So I know because I play consistently that the universal rewards really helps me. Now, did we play all that much 14 the show? Or did we played 15 more than we played 14? Because I played 14 for a long time. I played since 13. So I'm a fairly new MLB The Show player. I know you came over and played 14.
14 once in a while, but just like exhibition matches,
Yeah.
probably.
Have you noticed, now this is me asking you as a casual MLB player, have you noticed that the ball moves a little bit differently in this game compared to other games? That was one of the first things I noticed when I loaded up this game.
Well, throwing pitches, obviously,
Yeah.
it looks really different. Like, if you see a slider, it'll look like an actual slider in real life. Or a knuckleball, for example, also. A knuckleball would just go...
Yeah.
I
think in this game, and this might be a little bit of a stretch for me to say, but pitches are almost easier to recognize in this game than it was in 14 the show. I feel like in 14 I was constantly guessing, but in this game it seems like if you have the skill and you can wait back, you'll get rewarded a lot more, and I think that's a lot nicer. I also feel like balls don't hang up in the air as long anymore. When you hit a fly ball, there's not as much time for the outfielder to go and get it, which results in a lot of doubles, triples. If you got Prince Fielder, then he's going to end up at first no matter what because he doesn't like to run. So, I mean, did you notice that any difference with how long the balls hang up in the air by any chance?
The ball hangs up in the air for a long time for me. That's what I'm saying.
See, he gets frustrated a lot because we will play and it's just... We have this whole conspiracy theory that it's either his day or it's my day. Sometimes he'll beat me terribly and sometimes I beat him terribly, but it never goes the way either of us want it to. So I don't know. I just noticed that when it's going your way, the ball goes down much faster. When it's going the other player's way, the ball is always in the air. Somebody's always catching it, and you're never. Yeah. So and the last thing that we want to talk about, and this is a huge change only because, and I noticed this a lot. There's 900 new fielding animations, and the reason why this is important is because, say, this happens to me and you a lot. Say I hit a ball, I'm a right-handed hitter, I hit the ball in between second and first. Because of the new ball animations, you have them being able to pick up the ball from a different angle than they were before and still be able to throw them out. There was one second base animation going to the left side of the second baseman's body, and he bobbled it almost every single time because the animation never looked smooth. Now it's more realistic. You have more plays that look like they actually make sense, and they're not like jarbled, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So would you say that the fielding animations look much more smooth in this game?
Yeah, it looks way better from playing MLB 14 the show. It just looked like it was just everywhere.
Well, a lot more realistic, I would say.
Yeah, more realistic.
Yeah.
So if you see 15, like if a person dies for it and it just goes to the gap, then you can be like, oh yeah, that can happen.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. So I would say I'm gonna ask you first because me and you have been playing this for a long time. Scale 1 out of 10, what would you rate MLB 15 the show?
If I had a PS4,
Yeah.
9.5.
9.5. That's a pretty solid score. Honestly, I think this is the most fun I've had with an MLB game in a long time. They have features from 14 the show, like player lock, that makes it incredibly fun to play, but they also have stuff that makes you feel more connected, like universal rewards and the brand. So I'm gonna hit it with a 9.75. This game is, I played 13 for like, I think a total of like 7 consecutive, you know how they have total time per game, and I bought it towards the tail end of its release, and I had 7 days played on it. I had 14 the shows down for like 12 days total playing time, and me and him were playing this every time we're with each other. So I think 9.75 is a fun score. The nicest thing about sports games is that the replayability is almost endless, and best thing, the online is not poop this year. Like, it actually works. Like, from the pitching, when you're pitching, it's laggy, but to the hitter, it doesn't show up as laggy. There's no delay between when you press the swing button and when the guy swings. Everything is super seamless, so at least it makes sense in that regard. So I'm going to say 9.75 is a fairly good score.
And it's also fun to play with friends, like, even for a new
It's
person.
super competitive, and it's one of the greatest things ever.
So if a person doesn't even play or watch baseball, they can
still interact. Yeah, that's great.
They can get into it, and it'll be great. It's like a great friendly game to play, like with all your friends.
Yeah, it's a great game to play with a group of friends. You know, just hand off the controller anytime somebody loses. But anyway, if you guys have MLB 15 to show and you think that we got something wrong, or maybe we missed something, let us know down in the comment section below. My name is Ethan York.
My name is Andy Garcia.
And we will see you guys some other time.